Hello and welcome back to Film Exaggeration. Here we are. The last one.
Back in 2017, I covered Atlas Shrugged Part 1, one of the worst movies I have ever seen. The characters were awful, the pacing was a slog, the direction was lazy, and it had some of the most reprehensible ideologies ever. Then, last year, I covered Atlas Shrugged Part 2, which I thought was a little better. It at least had some style, but it was still terrible. The characters and ideologies were still reprehensible. And now today, we will cover the third movie, Atlas Shrugged Part 3, Who is John Galt? This one is directed by J. James Manera, who's only worked in TV before and since. And he co-wrote it with producers Harmon Kaslow and John Aguilialaro. The latter also co-wrote the first movie.
You know, this whole splitting books into multiple films thing was a huge thing in the early to mid 2010s, and it only really ever worked twice, but usually they could at least keep the same crew. This can't even keep the same cast. Yes, they switched out the actors again.
This one is the only one in the series to get a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was also nominated for Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel at the Razzies, but lost to Annie. Oh, and they had to do a Kickstarter to get some of the budget, because that's what Ayn Rand would want.
But let's not waste any more time. Let's finish this. This is Atlas Shrugged Part 3, Who is John Galt?
The Day After Tomorrow, why am I not watching that?
The plan was that everybody would work as hard as they could, but share in their salaries and the profit based on need. That is, those who claimed they needed the money most were the ones who got paid the most.
I'm still not sure why they can't be fired. It doesn't seem like that bad a compromise. Every employee's paid fairly, but if you aren't working up to the standard we need you to, then you're fired. So John Galt stands up and says he doesn't accept this plan. I'm still not sure what he's upset about. So afterward, the factory closed, the economy went to shit, some pirates started stealing cargo. I feel like this is all stuff we should have seen in the first movie, but whatever.
Regulations strangled the production of coal, gas, oil, and nuclear power.
Well then what about clean energy sources?
That perhaps he had stopped the motor of the world.
Again, I see this as nothing more than him complaining that some of his co-workers are making more than he thinks they should, and that would make him a fucking dickhead.
Oh goody, those are back. I missed those from the first film. We then see Dagny in the aftermath of the crash. If you recall the ending of the second movie, she was still in the plane when Galt found her and told her who he was right then. Well, here she's outside of the plane and he checks her pulse before introducing himself because who cares about continuity? The actor's name is Christopher Palaha. I don't know much about him, but apparently he'll be in Wonder Woman 1984 next year. So good for him, I guess. She also meets a couple of her old friends, including Midas. And I will say this in the movie's favor so far. At least there's color. He takes her to his house where the doctor, using his fancy x-ray device, checks on her.
Every doctor should have one. It's amazing what can be accomplished without red tape.
I'm gonna assume that was made using technology created by the US government using taxpayer money. You know, like most new tech inventions.
Somehow she's mostly okay despite being in a plane crash that completely destroyed the plane. Also, this editing is terrible, and I just realized, why is there narration now? There wasn't in the other two movies.
Meanwhile, the government again increased its reward for the capture of pirate Ragnar Denniskoll.
Wait a minute. He looks familiar. That face, I swear I've seen him before, and oh my god. It's Bob Duncan from Good Luck Charlie. You gotta be kidding me. So 2 Disney sitcom parents showed up in these movies? Who's next, the dad from Phil of the Future?
I made my fortune lending people money to buy houses and build businesses, and I only loaned to those people I was confident could repay me.
Well, at least you're not a payday loan company. Or Navient.
When the politicians started making medical decisions for me, I decided I couldn't be a party to it anymore.
No. Hospitals are one of the things I want heavily regulated.
So they decided to go on strike, which is weird because if their employees went on strike, I doubt they would be very happy about it.
We left nothing behind, Dagny. We took with us the only real thing of value.
Your workers? You kind of need them in order to produce things, in order to make a profit?
And we're not trying to impose our values on the world that we left behind. They're free to continue to believe as they want, whatever they want. But they're going to have to do it without our help.
Okay, again, I feel that if this were to actually happen, the workers would just come together and try and run their businesses as a collective unit.
Well done, Dagny. Well done.
Yep, you did none of the labor in building the line, you had to rely on others to get supplies, and you tried to get your employees to go on not knowing it was safe or not. You're worthy of admiration.
Ragnar Daniskold sunk several more ships carrying copper, resulting in more frequent electrical outages.
Where's the Navy in all of this? If this is a real authoritarian regime, then shouldn't there be a strong military? So the currency of this utopia is not money, but gold coins. And Dagny agrees to work for Galt as a maid in exchange for gold. Wait, if they use gold and all the money they had is now gone, then how do they buy stuff to build everything? Well, that Ragnar pirate explains.
I have been accused of making the seas unsafe, but only for those ships carrying goods taken by government force from the rightful owners. I'm just returning what's been stolen.
So you're stealing food that is causing the rest of the world to become hungry because you think it belongs to you guys. Why am I supposed to see them as good?
So they're not in school?
Oh, no, I'm homeschooling them. I joined the strike because I wouldn't put them in an educational system that doesn't teach them to think.
This is just PragerU shit. I can tell you that public schools are not trying to turn your kids into communists, okay?
Dagny's brother James, who once again has shifted age a lot in a short amount of time, is working with the head of state, Mr. Thompson, and needs some law to pass in order to save his company. You know, this whole freaking series is hard to criticize for its ideals because the government in this is so corrupt, so power hungry, and so one-dimensionally evil that it can't be compared to the real world. No one wants the government to have absolute power over industries. But to deny that some regulation is needed is not only dumb, it's idiotic and makes you seem like assholes.
Francisco d'Ancona's copper mines, the world's largest remaining mines, were closed due to a series of explosions.
Yeah, so if I'm getting this straight, these guys not only leave, meaning all these helpless workers can't get paid after doing all this work to make them money, but they actually destroy all their hard work so they can't use it after they're gone. I'm not even a half hour in and I'm already fucking pissed. So Galt uses that motor that can convert the energy in the air into electricity to power his utopia.
Again, in the real world, you would be fucking rich.
He could use this to help out the rest of humanity, but nah. We then get an awful romantic montage. I mean, this is just pathetic. Dagny says she'll build a railroad to help out in Galtville, and they even say that James is completely useless and only got where he is pretty much out of luck.
All of your life, you've heard people saying that we have to help the less fortunate. That the measure of virtue is not what you achieve, but what you do for others.
I want to punch this movie in the face. I want to hurt it. I want it to feel pain just so I can get some satisfaction out of it.
I really can't get over how bad the editing is in this. Here's an example. They'll have a scene of Galt and Dagny talking and then cut to some narration saying that the government has started using brutal policing to stop people from revolting and that no one can clean up after that rock slide from the last movie. And then it just cuts back to them talking about if Dagny is gonna stay. What was the point of that? She says she is leaving and they tell her she can't tell anyone about what they do here and she can never come back. So John takes her back and everyone knows she's alive again.
Several Reardon steelworkers died defending a mill against a violent takeover by government-sponsored union thugs.
Okay, that's great. Antifa, if you're watching this, you gotta start calling yourselves that. Government-sponsored union thugs.
So blah blah blah, James is fucking over the railway, they aren't able to get food to the East Coast so people are starving, and it's basically just a bunch of talking that's there to show how evil these government officials are. And it's so boring. Afterward, Galt shows up and Dagny and him fuck. Where's Hank in all this? We had one phone conversation with him earlier and that was it. I thought they were together. And while that's going on, we see her workers trying to manually get some trains to where they need to be after a technical issue leaves them all stuck.
So yeah, she leaves them to do all the work and expects to take all the credit.
Well, we learn that Hank has disappeared and James' wife Cheryl left him, but then a newspaper headline says she died.
There's no reason why you should forgive me. I just learned the truth about you and Jim. I know it's you who runs the railroad and you who built the John Galt line. Thank you, Dagny.
Seriously, what is it with all the fades in this movie? This already looks like a TV film. Don't make it seem like there should be commercials. So the head of state is about to give a speech.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Tonight, I need to talk.
Oh my god. The movie just died! Yay!
No, it's just Galt making a speech, and to sum it up, he's basically just saying that people gave too much power to the government, and now they're basically a dictatorship. It's kind of like the speech V gave from V for Vendetta, except there he was telling them to not let anyone take control of them. Galt is basically saying they should give all the power to the rich, successful business owners. And again, these have got to be the most well-off poor people in the history of cinema. He cuts the feed and something even worse appears on screen: Sean Hannity.
I'd rather have the guy inspiring domestic terrorism.
Everyone starts yelling that they want John Galt as it seems a revolution starts, and even Glenn Beck gets involved.
Scream it! Shout it! But that would be the way I would do it in exactly the wrong way, because nobody would hear it and he'd look like a madman.
I have no comment. Oh, and Ron Paul has a cameo too. Dagny finds Galt, but accidentally leads the authorities to him. He tells her to treat him as an enemy, and this leads to a conversation between Galt and Thompson. Thompson offers him a role in the government that would give him an incredible amount of power, but Galt refuses.
But that kind of job shouldn't exist.
No one should have that kind of power.
Yeah, maybe you should tell Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos that. They arrest Galt and decide to torture him using some new device called Project F. Oh, okay, so it's just a more expensive version of the electric chair.
Why not just waterboard him? It's way cheaper and has the same results.
Dagny breaks in and stops the machine from working, making James get angry in an unintentionally funny scene.
Hey, Jimmy, calm down. Jimmy, just... Come on.
Be back, you son of a bitch!
Reminder, this got a theatrical release. Galt appears to die, but a kiss from Dagny brings him back to life because this movie is stupid. They get him to a helicopter and fly back to their 1% utopia as all the lights go out, and that's the end of the film.
It's the end.
No. It's the beginning.
Oh, fuck yes!
Just like the other two, the morals and characters are horrible. There is no one to like. Every single person in this is terrible. It says to be selfish and care solely for yourself. But you know, let's ignore all of that. This is a horrendously made film. It would be insulting if it were released direct to television. It is that poorly done. The acting is dull, the direction is amateur, the editing is incompetent, and the pace is so slow that it feels much longer than it actually is. Even as an end to a trilogy, it is pathetic. Hank, a major character from the first two movies, is barely in this, and it ends on such a lame note, with no sense of finality. I don't know if I would say this is worse than the first movie, at least it seemed like it was trying to be entertaining, but all three of these are some of the worst films I have ever seen. I hated these, and I don't feel like my life is any better for having watched them. In fact, it feels a lot worse. I want nothing more than to go back so I don't have to watch these movies. They add nothing and take away so much.
In fact, hold on. Hello? Hi. 2017 Norty? This is 2019 Norty.
Oh hey, how's it going?
2018 is going to kick your ass in ways you can't even imagine.
What?
But anyway, I'm just calling to tell you not to do the other Atlas Shrugged movies. Trust me, they aren't worth it. You're just gonna hate yourself for watching them.
No, I'm not gonna stop doing them. I can't just do the first one. Besides, I want to see how this shit ends.
It ends very stupid.
Well, I assumed that, but I still gotta review them.
No, you don't. They aren't worth the money you're gonna spend on them, and trust me, you're gonna need as much money as possible.
You know, maybe we should sell these phones that can call through time. I mean, it seems like you could make a lot of money off of them and retire right now.
No, that would make too much sense. And also, I'm not entirely sure this is happening. I think I might just be losing my mind.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, thanks for calling.
No, wait, I gotta tell you to wait, pals! God damn it.
Should have asked him who's running for president in 2020.
You know, normally when I have DVDs that I don't want anymore after I'm done reviewing them, I'll try and sell them at either Second and Charles or like Declutter.com, but I'm not going to do that with these. I don't want anyone spending their hard-earned money on these. I don't want them out there for people to see them, because these are just evil movies. They're evil. They are fucking evil. So, I know that this became a reviewer cliche, so much so that you don't actually see it much anymore, but it has to be done. So, follow me.
Okay, so it's like 6 in the morning and I'm here at my parents' place. I have to do this early because my family's sleeping and I don't want them to think I'm crazy. Which I am, but I don't want them to know that. But anyway, here you're allowed to burn your trash because this town just doesn't give a shit. But anyway, I'm just gonna do what should be done with all copies of these movies. So, let's do it. Burn in hell, you bastards.